an unusual occurrence. So, it looks like Lumi's muted himself again, possibly because we were having technical issues. And everyone has my friend code now. I'm just waiting to get the official friend request. And while we're doing that, going on Sapper Canal Rainmaker, as I was saying, I play a sploosh. I can't actually reach the pedestal where it starts off. I am too short or too short ranged. It is a little bit irritating when it happens. Besides that, though, Snapper Canal Rainmaker, it is a great map. There's a lot of different ways you can go. There's naturally the main way over the steppe. There's around the back end. You can jump over the river in a few different spots. There's 3 different ways up the ramps or up the walls into that final area right before the Rainmaker pedestal. There are so many different ways to go that it leads to a lot of backtracking, a lot of flanking, a lot of ways around, backwards, forwards, upside down, maybe not upside down. With so much to watch and so many different options, coordination, figuring out what your team's doing, figuring out what the other team is doing, those are pretty darn important things, and they are also pretty amazing. And did I get that friend request yet? Yes. Let's accept it.
Pedestal, and so it can go very quickly.
Okay, you just came up in mid-word. It can go really, really quickly, yeah. Any Rainmaker match can, though.
And also where it's positioned, the shield, it makes it a little difficult to try and control the mid because that explosion can kill you from a lot of places near that middle area. So it makes it a little harder for front lines.
Makes it a little harder for just about anyone from what I've seen. You have to be close enough to hit it. If you're up there with it, then you have no protection. You're completely exposed, and the shield itself is big enough that it could knock you off there.
Yeah, and again, there are the grates, but the shield just gets so big it can knock you off the grate and get you killed.
So actually getting it popped to begin with, there's been more than one time where I have just happily let the other team pop it, get it down, splat them, keep going from there. All right, looks like we have almost everybody in the room. We're missing one person from Insurance. So I'm hoping we're going to get to see all of these maps today, but the last one that we're sure we're going to get to see today is Manta Maria Splat Zones. This is a double zone map. I like double zone maps. Do you?
I do. I think they're pretty fun. It's very back and forth because you can take it so easily with just a simple suction bomb.
Oh yeah, these are rather tiny zones in Manta Maria Splat Zones. Frankly, it is very easy to take control of one zone. It's getting both of them at the same time that's the challenge because there's a lot of high ground to stand on and shoot at from people. There's the grates towards the center, there's the snipe, there's by the rings. And all of that combined make it so that there's a lot of different places for people to hide and shoot at you from. Not to mention using that center pole to block splashdowns, block booyah bombs, hide on one side, wait for it to go away, come back out and shoot.
I mean, yeah, that's just one of the problems with this map in particular. There's just a lot that can go on, and it's hard to really get a good control of the zone for a long time because, I mean, it's very easy to just take one of the zones and that stops the timer. So it'll probably be one of our longer matches today.
I don't know. I'm hoping that we see overtime 5 times in a row. What do you think?
I really hope so too, especially we only have one set. If we can get as much action as we can, that'd be great.
Oh yeah. So we're still waiting on one member of Insurance Agency to get in here. But while we've got a moment, let's just go and talk about Insurance Agency so far. They've got 3 losses, 1 win to their record, so they're not the best team in the league, not the worst team. They're doing okay. They have 7 different members. I'm not sure which 4 we'll see today. We're still waiting on one person to get in the lobby. But we've seen a variety of different comps from them just because they have so many members, they've got such flexibility. Both a help and a hindrance because I'm not sure they're all used to working with each other. I think in the past what I've seen from them has indicated they're not always on top of what they're doing together.
They've been a little more inconsistent than some of our other teams, but it is fun watching their unorthodox ways of playing. But I'm hoping that we see some resistance to them because Eclipse is one of our stronger teams here in Academy. So I'm hoping that they can give it a good fight. And if we get an upset, that would be really hype.
Well, according to our standings, Eclipse hasn't lost yet. Eclipse is...
Yeah, they are undefeated. It's a really hard match.
So let's see them defeated. I want to see them defeated. I want them off their throne. I want to see them... They've been doing well so far. They have done some really great matches. They've had really great games. And I want to see them get taken down just once before the playoffs. And that...
I mean, it's as delicious as it might sound. I hope they're on an off day and we see that upset. That'd be really exciting to see, especially with one of our stronger teams.
Absolutely. Though I will say Gray from Eclipse is our player of the week from Anarchy. We have a player from the week from each mode this time. And Perry, we don't get to see Outcast Ninjas play, but it was Winter from Outcast Ninjas. But Eclipse from Anarchy League is the player of the week from last week with 43 kills, 10 assists, and only 16 deaths, which is frightening. Completely in total.
Quite impressive.
Not long now before we go into our first match, Tower Control at the Reef. I'm looking forward to it.
So far, our predictions are very lopsided with 100% on Eclipse. I mean, we have almost 27,000 bit channel points for Eclipse, and we have 33 for Insurance Agency.
Well, clearly that just means we're going to have to see an upset.
Well, the payout for Insurance is 1 to 808.67, so you can make some really good money right now.
All right, we have Insurance in the green. Eclipse in the blurple. And they're off. We have Splatling on both sides, different types. And looks like they're just getting started, fighting for...
These compositions seem pretty typical for the teams. I do think that Eclipse's comp is a little more unorthodox, but it's still a pretty good comp. I mean, considering their casual weapons, they usually go these kinds of weapons in their matches. But, I mean, you see they have K-Gal, K-Luna, and a Hydra. And I feel like that K-Luna, that might cause a lot of trouble on such a map that you can flank on easily. I mean, you see it's already getting easy kills.
Oh, yeah. Not much progress on either side so far. No one's even hit the first checkpoint.
And as we say that, it seems that Insurance is in a corner.
Oh, yeah. No, not too many down on either side. Pretty even still. Oh. So they have reached the first checkpoint. Eclipse is going to get past it here, looks like.
You see Gray is trying to find some picks, and they do a pretty good job. We've seen Gray has been a very good player for Eclipse.
Insurance down 2. Just respawning, and Eclipse is going for that second checkpoint. They're going to get past it. Pretty well guaranteed. Yep.
You see they're already at 30. It's only been a minute and a half. That's very impressive. It seems that Insurance is having a lot of trouble just trying to approach. But they do get to pick on that Hydra, and that's important because it stops their tower. There's 2 down on each team. It's still equal. Oh, that's the wipe, though.
That's the wipe, and they're already past their checkpoint. They've just got to get to the end now. This is...
Might be a knockout here.
Yet. It's not over yet.
That Booyah might just finish it off.
It's over. It's...
We saw that Eclipse, they were working together. They were playing as a team, and Insurance just felt like they were playing as 4 players.
That is the weakness we've seen from Insurance time and again this season. They play as 4 people, good players, but still as 4 separate players, a whole lot more than they managed to play together.
And especially against a team as Eclipse, which they have a lot more mechanical skill, especially with Gray. I mean, we've seen time and time again, they've gotten so many kills each match. And you're not going to be able to have better mechanics than Eclipse. At this level, it's just not going to happen. You have to work together. And that's what Insurance needs to do. They need to devise a strategy.
Well, we hope they've got it soon because they just saw that didn't quite work on tower control. What could work for them?
Now, Rainmaker requires even more teamwork.
It does require teamwork, but it's one where one wipeout, or even a triple, can make or break a push. And it can make or break an entire game because it only takes one good push in Rainmaker. Under 20 seconds or less, you can knock it out in one of these matches.
Now, this is a bit of an anecdote, but I've met that most people either really love Rainmaker or they really hate it. And I can see the reasons why. I feel like it's one of the more volatile modes. And on this map, it's going to be hard for Insurance to really get a lot of points. I mean, they'll have to get that miracle wipe.
Either side gets a wipe, it's over. Guaranteed, almost completely guaranteed. But
they're going to at least get tons of points.
Yep. But it's both the beauty of Rainmaker and the terror of Rainmaker. I have been, not on this map, but on other maps, I have been on both sides of wins and losses fast enough that they fit in a single switch clip.
I mean, you can dominate for the first 4 minutes and 45 seconds, but if you go down your entire team, it can flip. You have to be careful. And if you play as 4 players, you're not going to be able to do that. You have to play as a team in Rainmaker. So this is going to be Insurance's weakness against Eclipse.
Absolutely. But let's see if they can pull it off anyway. Because they have... Well, if they can do this, then they take down the undefeated team in their league. And that's the bragging rights. I'm hoping they can do it. Insurance in the green, Eclipse in the pink, and they are off. Dart to the center. Lots of ninja landing on Eclipse. Or stealth.
No, I know you are probably happy about it, but they are running a Sploosh 7 on their comp. So what do you think about that?
Like I said before, it's something that I personally play with. Nice pick from Dialga there. And the initial pop, it's very hard to get because you just can't reach. But once you get past that, oh, that was a nice trade.
A good snipe there from Desert.
Once you get past that initial pop and you get it on the ground, it shoots fast, it breaks through just about anything. I basically would put a Sploosh with Object Shredder against any 2 other weapons for popping that Rainmaker. So once you get past that initial bit, it's fast, it's a good Slayer, and it's very hard to catch.
Now we see our teams are kind of an impasse here. There's not really been much action. It's only a couple kills from each side, but that might change here. You see that Insurance is down too.
But Gray is down on Eclipse's side. Oh.
See a brilliant inkjet shot from Dialga. That's the kill that they needed to get those points.
Looks like
Ray on this map can be very deadly. It can stop your push, even if you're the only one alive.
Oh yeah, an immediate knockout, immediately taking out the Ray with an inkjet. That was an amazing thing for them. That kept them from, maybe not knockout, but certainly getting down to teams. Lots of good pressure on the middle there from those Splatmans and the Gao.
We see Gray is going to try to go for a flank, and this is where we see that Gray might shine, but it's Blue's
they're
watching
prepared.
it.
They're prepared for that. They've seen enough matches there. They have an idea. Eclipse is down 3 people. Insurance, this is your chance.
They seem to be adapting. I mean, they notice Gray is one of their best players, and they're watching out.
They are.
They're still having trouble pushing.
They may have seen other matches Eclipse has been in the past. It's not like they don't have others to look at. They've been streamed a fair bit, both sides. They're going, okay, we know who we need to take out. We've seen someone was player of the week twice now. We should take him out.
Yeah, I mean, Gray has been a nuisance in pretty much every match that Eclipse has had so far. You can see they're pushing up once again, and they're just ticking down the timer.
Oh,
They get
but
to
they haven't
6,
gotten a knockout. They haven't gotten a knockout.
but they're wiped.
They're
That's
wiped.
going to be it.
That was, well, they put up a good fight. They put up a very good fight.
So it was kind of a stalemate at the beginning, and they were kind of going back and forth, but at the end, it just fell apart for Insurance. I mean, they got wiped, and that was pretty much it.
It's the same thing we've seen again and again in this. Teamwork, teamwork, teamwork. It is so hard to do successfully, so hard to work out, but it is such a vital component of competitive Splatoon.
Splatoon is a team game, so you have to make sure that you're communicating and you're working with your teammates and devising strategies. I mean, you can't just jump into your league match and figure out, okay, what are we going to do as the timer ticks down for you to, get ready. You have to make your strategies over time, and it takes a while. So, I mean, at this level of play, I'm not expecting some very intricate pushes with advanced techniques, but you still have to work together, and we're not seeing a lot of that from Insurance right now.
That is true. It is something that they could stand to work on, and one of their flaws is a team on the whole. If they get the handle on that, then they could probably get a lot further everywhere as a team. Because they had the few moments where they had picks where they focused on Gray or specific members of Eclipse that have been harassing them in previous matches, where they had that one chance to push, they did really, really well individually. But putting themselves together into a team setting, putting themselves together so that they work and everything works, that is so difficult. And
It takes a lot of time to develop.
It's not like compare it to I'll just use Smash Brothers because that's another competitive game I'm familiar with. If you play in a team in Smash Brothers, you can still basically have one person carry everything, or still have one person do everything. I think you can do that in a lot of games that have a team mode or a team option, where if you can have one really good player do everything, you cannot do that in Splatoon. A team of lower level players that works together will almost certainly knock out and destroy a team of higher level players that does not work well together. Every time. Okay, 9 times out of 10.
Again, if you work as a team, you're not taking 1v1s, you're taking 2v1s, you're taking 3v1s sometimes.
Insurance in the green, Eclipse in the orange. Come on, Insurance, time for your reverse sweep.
I mean, if they do, that's a lot of money for the people that voted for Insurance. You can see they're both sticking to their customary comps, pretty much. We've only seen minor changes. Oh, but that's 3 down on Insurance.
Don't know.
See, Crimson's trying to find some kicks and pressure, but they're having trouble.
You have one Splatling on those grates. You've got to keep a watch out for your people shooting at you from below.
And this is what we mean when we say they're working as players. If you're 3 down, you can't just keep trying to get kills.
Nope.
See, the Tetras do go down to Gray.
That would have been a good time to try just inking some ground, getting a Booyah Bomb right and pushing back in.
And setting up for your players to get back in fast enough. We're not seeing a lot of that, playing roles from Insurance. They're just playing as 4 solo players, not as an anchor, a player, or a utility. You can see it flips.
It flips.
3 down on Eclipse. This is their chance to get some points.
Let's see what Insurance does with it. They're pushing up a little bit, but not too far. We're only focusing on just keeping mid under control because they haven't got that fully baked.
They do have 2 specials, though. They can use that to their advantage, especially now that they're pushing in. I mean, they have a Booyah and a Splashdown ready.
They feel
it's 2v3 on the map for Eclipse right now.
Ink Armor coming out, but immediately goes down. Not sure I would have popped Ink Armor here myself, but
Ink Armor is one of those specials that it's for your team, it's not for you. So you have to use it as a team.
Splash Ball in the corner where it will do a whole lot of good. Not.
getting good kills from Gray right now.
Distraction. Nice splash down cancel from Gray. They're just keeping them from getting to the zone. That is something it's very possible to do on this map, maybe a little more than some other maps. You can keep the other team from getting to the zone. Nice trade there. Then you can keep
That's the difference in strategies between these teams. I mean, Insurance, they try to hold down the middle, but Eclipse, they'll get in your base and they'll try to kill you. And it's about to knock out, but they're just having trouble getting in.
Got one chance left. Nope, they're not doing it. That was a fast.
I mean, one of the fastest sets we've had.
That was. Eclipse 3, Insurance 0. In a fast knockout.
I mean, I think one thing we've learned is that in Splatoon, you need to play as a team. You need to work together. Unless your name is Gray, then, I mean, just go get your kills. But if you're not Gray, then, I mean, you have to work together and push up together, use your specials. Like, you have to learn that. And it takes a long time. And Insurance is still these new players. They seem to be new to competitive, so, I mean, Eclipse has been around a little longer, and they have more experience. But we saw some resistance from Insurance, and they did try, but I mean, ultimately, they just couldn't go against Eclipse. They are one of our top teams here.
It was very much a learning experience for them, and they did not lose all of their matches. They put up a good fight. I'm not sure if we're doing an interview after this because we had some different matches, so I'm going to ping the team captain who I might be interviewing before I end the stream, but we saw some. While we're doing that, I'm taking a look at the standings now. We didn't have any matches on the NParry division today because of how things wound up playing out with all of the reschedules. But I was still able because Thick Thigh Lovers they were the team that had the bye this week. I did go ahead and update their score to reflect that bye, so they're 2-3. But on the Anarchy division side, Eclipse definitely has the seed 1. We can say that now. Eclipse is going into the playoffs. But below them, there is a 3-way tie, 3 wins, 2 losses between Mirkwood, Astro, and Eternal. I'm not sure if they want me to say who is going into the playoffs between those 3 teams at this point. I know there has been some discussion in the league staff area about it as they're calculating total numbers of wins and losses to determine the tiebreaker. So I'll wait until...
I mean, it's looking to be that it's going to be a playoff season.
Because the playoffs are going to be next week, and on NParry division, I'm reasonably sure, even without having played the game, we know who's going in there, just based on the current wins-losses. TTL... Okay, I do have confirmation that I can say it. Eclipse, on Anarchy division, Eclipse is going to be seed 1. Mirkwood is seed 2, because they had the most overall wins, and Astro had the second most overall wins, so Eternal is not making it into the playoffs. The way the playoffs work next week will be the seed 1 team on Anarchy, the seed 2 team on Anarchy will play seed 3 on NParry, then the seed 3 on Anarchy will play seed 2 on NParry. I'm not sure if Clownfish or Deadlock is going to be seed 2. Or seed 1, I don't know.
I think we still have to determine that.
We still have some matches. In fact, Clownfish and Deadlock are up against each other. So one of them will be 4-1, one of them will be 3-2. Best Pufferfish Party can hope for is 2-3, which is why I'm writing them and Thick Thigh Lovers out. Eclipse and Outcast Ninjas are going to be seeded. They'll face the winners of the previous matches. I'm not entirely sure who they'll face yet, so I'm not going to say that. And But that is going to be some really nice, really tight moments. Eternal did have the fewest overall wins for that three-way tie, unfortunately. But right now, I am going to put this on. We're going to be back here in a few minutes and we're going to be talking to Siege, team captain of Mirkwood Falcons. But right now, I'm going to put us on the cooldown desk until that interview. See you in a few minutes. Okay, and we are back. Lumi and I are here with Siege King or Siege, Captain of Mirkwood. How are you, Siege?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing well. Wishing I had a 5 game match to stream like you guys had. How was that earlier? How are you feeling after that?
It's a bit disappointing on the 2-3 loss, but it's all right. Like we're really close.
It was very close. There was a lot of, I don't know, you probably weren't paying any attention to the chat. You were busy, but there was a bit of screaming and yes and no and going on in there.
Yeah, yeah. Between the matches, I checked the chat, and it seems like everyone was hyped for it.
Oh, yeah. You two were very, very close. So, how long have your team been together?
We actually came together for season 1 of Walk the Plank.
So, you were in. All right, I have heard people say that you were in season 1 of Walk the Plank, which.
Yeah, we ended up winning that out to everyone's surprise, like even my own.
All right, please excuse the cat. He's feeling neglected. Anyway, so that was pretty awesome. Were you at all surprised to know that you have been seeded, your second seed in the Anarchy division? You're going to the playoffs next week.
It's a bit higher than I expected, but I'm not too surprised. Just I didn't quite think I'd get as high because my team doesn't really practice too much because we're quite busy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was only with the team for a few months, and getting everyone together to practice it's a challenge. It is a huge challenge. That might make the difference between between making it into playoffs and winning divisions and not though. So you've been doing pretty well with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. So, Lumi, do you have any questions?
No.
Well, I have one. So I know that you guys have been around since season 1. I mean, I was there when you guys were playing your matches. It was a much more simpler time back in season 1, and now, I mean, season 3, it's a lot more different. I mean, we have 3 divisions, we have 2 within Academy. How are you feeling about the other teams right now, like going into playoffs next week? Because have you played against any of the other teams in the other division?
Not really. I'm a bit nervous, but that's probably just natural going into playoffs.
Makes perfect sense.
Uh,
Well, you've got a week to prepare. You have a week to arrange any scrims you want between the other division if you want to prepare that way.
yeah, I'm gonna have to get a bit more practice in this week because things are gonna be ramping up going against like the top level teams.
Mm-hmm. Especially since you haven't played them before, so you can watch their matches against other teams in their division, but which will help you know their comps and maybe allow you to figure out some of those comps of your own, which earlier today you did a double backline comp. I remember that one. How do you think that it would have worked better if you hadn't done that, or do you stand by the double backline comp? That's something you've practiced.
Yeah, it's not something that I personally would advocate for. Um, just that Nugget with the Jet Squelcher, he had a lot of success with it, like personally, and so he felt like he could um, pull off using that. Because like there have been times where we were doing some clan blitz or whatever, and he's been playing frontline Jet and it's been working, but he can do some crazy stuff. But I think working more with the team would be better.
All right.
Well,
Good.
that's one of the things transitioning to a league is just you have to learn to play your roles instead of playing as one person. So with the Jet, I mean, it is one of those more mobile backlines, and it does have a lot of potential. And if you work together, I mean, it can be a pretty good double backline comp. So I think you guys could keep going with it if you're confident with it. It seems that it was working out all right. Just needs, more polishing.
Yeah, like going into games, we probably want to stick to one backline until we fix it up and can work with double backline.
All right, so it might be
I
something.
think double backline's the hardest to work with.
Well, sounds like it might be something we'll see from you again in the future, but we won't know for sure yet. I guess I'll find out next week. So,
All right.
I don't want this to go on too long. You've probably got some other places to be, but one more question for you and any more Loom you might have. Why should people root for you next week? And overall win this thing? Besides, of course, you being on it.
Well, we did win season 1, so that was a much simpler time, and we're gonna ramp up on practice hopefully, because to be honest, we only did like 1 or 2 practices a week beforehand because we were just too busy to do it. So hopefully we can step up our game and try to bring the fight to them.
Winning an earlier season is still an earlier season that you won, and it's a win to your team's record. Very nice. Lumi, got anything else for them for Siege today?
No, that's for me.
All right. Well, thanks very much for being here today, Siege, and we will see you next week for your match. But right now, I've been Aka Prime streaming at WTP Esports. Just going to take one moment before we end this to go and look at all of the donations we've had for our prize pool. We've had some very awesome people, and I recognize some of those names for people who play here. And I'll wish you good night. We'll be here we'll be back here again tomorrow with the Pro League, I believe. But right now, have a good one, everyone.